that we are good with volume. All signals are showing go, and I believe we are good to go. If anyone, I see that there are people in the room. If you can hear me, please let me know. If you can hear me, please let me know. Okay, I'm gonna go because I see people are are in the room. So not getting indication that someone can hear me, but we're still gonna go. All right. Okay. Well, hey, hello, hello, hello. And I want to welcome you back to the Quiet Authority Conversations. We're on our third episode of this series. I am Natasha, and I am a quiet leadership strategist, and I am your host for the Quiet Mic podcast, as well as the founder of the House of Quiet Impact. So, if this is your first time here, first of all, let me say I am so glad that you found your way in. Welcome, welcome, welcome. And if you've been listening each week, I also want to thank you for sticking with me as I continue to build this series one real conversation at a time. As a reminder, I want to ask you to please make sure that you like, that you comment, and that you share this video. And if you want, go back and binge watch the other ones if this is your first time here. But make sure that you definitely subscribe to this channel so that we can grow our impact here. Now, today's conversation, I won't be here before you long, but it is very personal for me. And it's personal because we're talking about something that I've struggled with, and that's visibility. Okay. Yep. I'm going personal today. So, for a long time, I was barely online, y'all. Not because I didn't care, but because I thought I had to be everywhere just to be taken seriously. And I thought that if I wasn't constantly showing up, that people wouldn't trust me, quite honestly. But now I know different. And when you know better, guess what? You do better. And that's what I want to share with you today. So, in this conversation, we're going to walk through three things that can actually help you with starting to show up more intentionally with less pressure, but with more power. All right. Now, why connection matters more than just being seen is the first thing that we're going to talk about. Next, we're going to also talk about how to choose the right stage for your voice because it does matter, believe it or not. And we're also going to talk about consistency. And I know you hear a lot about consistency, but we're going to talk about why being consistent beats constant output every time. Okay. Now, this is a real one, y'all. But let's talk about this conversation and why it actually matters so much. Okay. Now, you've probably heard it all. You know, you got to be more visible. You have to show up more. You have to be more consistent. Yep, I heard them all, been down that route. But nobody really talks about how exhausting that is, especially when you're trying to run a business or when you're trying to lead a team and you still have to have energy for actual life, right? Because life is lifing, right? But here's what it can feel like. You open your phone and then you're hit with 10 different voices telling you to do it all differently, and then you scroll and then you start comparing and then you post something and then it doesn't land. And then you wonder if anybody's even listening. Then the questions start. Do I have to dance? Do I have to be on video every day? Do I have to talk about my personal life? Is that what gets noticed now? You start doubting yourself. And you ultimately shrink. I'll say that. You stay quiet, you overthink, you wait until it's perfect. How do I know? Because I've done all of the things that I just described to you. Deep down, you start wondering, is my way even valid anymore? But I want to tell you right here, right now, it is. Okay. It is. You just need a strategy that honors your voice, that honors your energy, and honors your purpose. Okay. Because here's the thing, you don't need to be everywhere. You just need to be in the right places. And what does that mean? Because I know everybody says that the right places are the ones that fit you, where your audience actually is going to be there and where you actually enjoy showing up. If you're a strong writer, then LinkedIn or email might be your sweet spot. If you're better in conversation, then YouTube or podcasting might feel a little bit more natural for you. So the right spaces are going to equal a high return on your energy. And that's how you stop spinning your wheels and how you start building what's real. And when I say real, I mean real momentum. So let me show you how I got here, because I told you it's going to be a little personal. Okay. So let me take you back. For a long time, I kept my head down. I was working behind the scenes. I was giving everything that I had to others. I gave it to leaders. I gave it to teams that I supported. Now, don't get it wrong. I was trusted. I was highly respected, but I was not visible. Well, not publicly, not online, not in ways that actually scaled my voice or scaled my impact. And I told myself that it was fine. I told myself I didn't need the spotlight. I told myself I didn't want attention. But eventually, I started noticing something. I started noticing that the people I was helping were growing. Their names were being mentioned. Their work was spreading. But I was still invisible. That's when tension, my personal tension set in. Now, let's get it straight. I was not bitter at all, but I felt disconnected. Like I had more to say, but nowhere to say it. That type of thing. Um, there was a moment where I actually just had to ask myself, am I hiding in the name of humility, or am I playing small just out of fear? Now that question, when I had that heart to heart with myself, that question hit hard. And that aha just came when I realized that being visible wasn't about ego, because that's what I had in my head. It was about being available, it was about being of service. So then I made a decision. Yeah. I made a decision that I wouldn't start shouting, but that I would just start showing up. And that started with going live. And that's what the grassroots of this came about. Once a week, no filters, no gimmicks, just me and my message. And what that did is it actually reminded me that you don't have to go viral to be valuable. You just have to be visible to the right people in the right kind of way. So let me tell you this. You don't get anything else, get this. If I can show up quietly and consistency, then guess what? You can too. So what does all of that mean? Well, I'll tell you. It means that you do not need a massive audience. You just need to be willing to stop hiding. That's how the shift happens. Not from being perfect, but from presence. And that's why I'm here, present. All right. So let's get into these three things that I told you we were going to talk about today. Okay. The first thing, visibility is not the goal, but guess what is? Connection. So let's start here. There's this big myth that visibility alone will build your business. Nope, not true. What is true is that people don't just want to see you, They want to feel something real, right? They want to connect with you. They want to connect with your point of view. And that matters, right? It does. I mean, think about people you've seen online. You want to connect with them, right? You can post every day and you can still not make an impact. Now let that sink in. Or you can share one piece of content that hits somebody so deeply that it builds trust instantly. Here's what that can look like. You could write an email that says something that people are really thinking about, and then they reply back like, wow, this felt like it was written for me. How many times have you done something like that, right? I know I have. Or you post about a mistake that you made and what it taught you. And then people just start DMing you just to say thank you. Okay. I know that I've done that with people that I've connected with. I'm like, I feel like I feel like you're talking to me. I feel seen, right? Or you just stop trying to teach everything and instead you start sharing your take on things. That's what people remember. Believe it or not, I've learned rather quickly in this space that people just really want to hear your thoughts. They want to hear what you're thinking and things like that. So you don't need more content, you need more connection. And for a lot of people, that may not connect right away. Okay. But here's what that means. If you're just producing just to stay visible, people are more than likely are going to just scroll right on past you. But, but if you show up with something meaningful, if you show up with something real, guess what? People are going to stop. People are going to lean in. And then they come back. Okay. So let's go on to the second one because I told you I'm not going to be here before you long. Choose your stage based on what feels natural for you. There is no one size fits all platform. I'm here to tell you that. A lot of people think that it is. The only one that's right is the one that fits you. Okay? And that's going to matter because when you force yourself to show up in places that feel unnatural, guess what's going to happen to your message? It's going to lose power. You will burn out. And then guess what? You're going to start avoiding it. So, that can look several different ways. If speaking flows for you, then you might want to start a podcast. You might want to go live, or you might want to record short video clips. If you're an excellent writer, then you might want to go on LinkedIn. You might want to write a blog, or you might want to write newsletters and connect with people that way. If uh, visuals are your thing, then maybe you can do carousels. You can design or do some type of like short form storytelling. There's something out there for everyone. You just have to find what works for you. For me, I'll tell you, I chose podcasting because conversation is where I come alive. Um, I like to go deep, not wide. And podcasting lets me bring people into I'll say the nuance of my thoughts, not just the headlines, but kind of let's get deep a little bit. I can slow things down if I want to, or I can speed things up. I can tell stories. I can speak directly to the people who need to hear it, like you. And for me, I'll tell you, it's sustainable because I have things going on outside of this. I can record in batches. I can think before I speak. I can show up without overexposing myself. But my message to you is to pick one. Get good at it. Double down on it and make it your main lane. Okay. The platform isn't what makes you credible. Your presence is what's going to make you credible. Now, you don't have to chase every trend. Do not do that. You will tire yourself out quickly. You just need to own the space that you show up in and show up in that space fully. That's what's going to build your trust. Okay. And then the last one, number 3, consistency builds trust far faster than volume. Okay. And I know you've probably heard that before, but it's true. Okay. And I want to talk a little bit about why that's going to matter. There are so many people that start strong, then they disappear. Have you ever seen that? You start following somebody and then they just disappear. They don't disappear because they're lazy. It's more than likely because they overcommitted and then they didn't have a rhythm. So here's what consistency actually does. It builds a habit for not only you, but it builds a habit for you to just keep showing up. Okay. It's going to build a pattern for your audience to look forward to seeing you. It's actually, and this is the real one that a lot of people don't think about, it's going to create a backlog of content that works for you over time. Okay. So it's going to help not only you, but it's going to help the people that are looking for you because now they can go back and binge watch and then you can repost content and things like that. But being remembered has more impact than being seen. So if you're trying to do a whole bunch, think about why you're doing it, okay? Because it matters. You don't need to go viral to be valuable. If people remember you for how you made them feel, then they're gonna keep showing up. And guess what's gonna happen eventually? They're gonna bring others. They're gonna bring friends. They're gonna, hey, I follow this person because blah blah blah. I follow them because they give a lot of good tips. I follow them because they have a lot of value. They're gonna bring friends, and those friends are gonna bring friends. How about that? So let's slow down. I want to check in. Where do you feel the most clear and steady when you share your voice? Is it on video? Is it in writing? Is it in conversations? Is it in coaching sessions? Is it inside your community? Okay. I want you to think about where your message naturally flows for you. Okay. That's going to be your space. Let's not overthink this. Start there. Start in your space. Start with what feels natural for you. And then ask yourself, what would change if I committed to showing up there once a week? What might open up? That's going to be the beginning. That's going to be the start of quiet authority for yourself. Okay. The quiet ones move the room. Let your quiet speak loud. What does that mean? Because you're going to hear me say it all the time. You don't need to take up space by force. That's what it means. It means you lead through energy. It means you lead through intention. It means you lead through clarity and showing up where your voice is going to feel steady. That's what it means. That's how quiet people influence deeply. Now, I want to thank you for spending this time with me. I really, really do. Told you I wasn't going to be here before you long. This is what we're about here. We're here about showing up differently. We're about leading with purpose, not pressure. This is the Quiet Authority Conversations. I go live every Thursday at 1 p.m. Central Standard Time on YouTube. Now, next week. Next week is Thanksgiving. We have a lot to be grateful for. And what I'll be doing is I'll be pre-recording that episode or conversation in order to honor your time and mine. But it will be there waiting for you Thursday afternoon. Um, and the reason why is because showing up with intention is part of the work. Okay. And that's what we are here about. I want you to make sure that you subscribe, make sure you like, and drop a comment. Share this with anybody you know. Let me know where your quiet voice is showing up for you this week. Until next time, I will see you soon. And remember, the quiet ones move the room. So let your quiet speak loud. Until next time, bye.